Hey guys, in this video we are going to be taking a look at a new product by the name of Aura by Billy Darr. So make sure to keep watching until the end of this review, and I'm going to be quickly walking you through the sales page and giving you an idea of the contents of the platform. And we will quickly dive into the members area where I'll actually give an overview of some of the tools and features along with the OTOs and so forth, so that you can get an idea of whether or not this platform will be suitable or not for you to actually help you start a business online. So before we actually get into it, if you find content like this here to be helpful and you want to see more reviews on other products and services that will also show you whether or not they're going to be suitable or not for you to get started online, then make sure to leave a like on the video and make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be updated whenever future videos are released. So if you're considering looking into this new platform Aura, you're probably wondering what exactly it is. It's actually pretty much an all-in-one content creation suite that allows you to create promo videos and set them up so that they can be published online in very little time. The one thing I will say, and I do say this in a lot of my reviews, is don't always take what they actually tell you on the sales page as a given, because the likes of this here free buyer traffic in 21 seconds, like that actually doesn't exist. That is very, very false and misleading, because again, there's loads of different implications that can happen around this here. There's no way that you're going to get results this quickly. But not only that, there could be any number of reasons, like your internet connection could be slow, there could be any sort of thing that can actually happen, so there's no way that you would get results like this. So it gives you an idea of what you can expect from the platform, that you can use it as a side hustle, that it's the first of its kind, but we all know that it's not the first of its kind. There's a lot of other similar platforms like this here that promise you results, but they always kind of have a similar agenda to them. Another thing to note as well is that with platforms like this here, if they're actually showing you screenshots of potential earnings or revenue, definitely don't take that as a given or trust it, because nobody knows this software is actually even usable, because at the end of the day, this software is relatively new. Nobody knows if the software even has the capability of making you any money yet. So you do need to be aware of that, especially if you're a beginner coming into this. As we all know, it's very easy to just get caught out with wanting to be able to start something, and we want quick and easy results. And by looking at numbers like this here, it kind of feeds into that emotional trigger of thinking that you can get that very quickly, but the chances are you won't get that. As much as you like to believe it doesn't really happen, and if it does, it's very, very rare. So you just do have to just take this with a pinch of salt. But again, you can feel free to have a look over the sales page, and then you can decide for yourself what you want to do. So quickly, we're just going to dive into the members area, and I'm quickly just going to give you an overview of the tools and features and what it does. So now that we're inside the members area, you can see straight away that there's a lot of information here, and even for a beginner coming in here now, especially if you're completely new to social media or social media marketing, you can get a little bit overwhelmed with the amount of tools and resources that are actually in here. And having spent a bit of time looking over it myself, there is actually a lot of tools and resources in here that potentially could be actually quite useful. But again, it's the angle that they're used at, and there's no guarantees that even if you implement the strategies inside, that you're actually going to see any results. So you can access the training. They do actually have some tutorials and case studies that you can actually look into that shows you how to actually use the software and how you can implement it. But again, there's still no guarantees behind it. You can connect like different services. You can connect up Google API and different types of keys, but to be honest, with the likes of software like this, you don't really need to do a lot of this here, because again, this platform, essentially from what it says on the sales page, is that it's actually it allows you to create videos, promo videos, to be able to send to your traffic. Do you really need all this additional stuff? And again, as an absolute beginner, you're not going to know how to use this, or even there's no implications or indication as to where to paste this or where to use it. So you are going to get bamboozled with it almost instantly. It does give you the access to be able to search for deals on the likes of JVZoo, Warrior Plus, ClickBank and the like. The one thing to note is that a lot of the services that are actually in here, if you go to the sales pages, which you can click on by clicking on the links, it will open up the pages to those products. But ideally, a lot of these products are very, very similar to this one, where they actually do present a misleading type of sales page where, again, it just kind of just gives you an idea of the potential earnings that you could make, but there's no guarantees on it. So it's just pretty much more of the same. So you do need to proceed with caution when you come to the likes of these here. Don't always get caught up in thinking, oh, that this can make me money or that can make me money. Maybe I'll look at this, because you can go down a rabbit hole very, very quickly and you can lose a lot of money very, very quickly. And you'll be wondering, why isn't this working? Why can't I get this to work? And there's no guarantees that you'll ever get your money back. So I would highly recommend that you don't go looking at these, because you will just waste a lot of time. But aside from that, it does actually have some unique features where you can actually, where the meat and the bones of the product, where essentially it's supposed to be, is in the video creator. And it does give you access to some images and videos and so forth that you can utilize. So it does actually have a library of stuff that you can use. You can upload your own videos and your own designs. And when you come into the editor, you can use some of the pre-made templates that are already here. And some of them are actually very nice. They're well thought out and they're well designed, and they actually do look pretty cool. So you can come on to the canvas itself and you can click on anywhere on the area and you can manipulate the environment. You can move stuff around, you can change the zoom patterns, you can literally manipulate different pieces, you can change the fonts, you can change the font size, you can make it transparent, you can change the line height or width, you can change the letter spacing, and everything works the way it actually should. Now, it is a very basic editor, it does exactly what it's going to do, but this is probably the best feature within this platform from what I've been able to use of it so far. So again, once you've actually created your videos, like I mentioned, through the editor, you can save the video and then you can actually download it so that you can then post it on the likes of Facebook, which is the next part. So you go into the Social Blast tab, and here it'll actually give you a load of different social channels that you can actually post your videos to. Now, the one thing I will say about this here is it can even break it down into like different types of feeds, whether video feeds and stories and so forth. The problem you have with all these channels, even though you can use all these channels, no problem, but if you have no background or if you have no audience, and if you're relatively new to the channel, if you just set up these channels or your own accounts on them, nobody knows who you are, nobody can relate to you, because nobody knows what you're about. It takes time and patience and consistency for you to build brand awareness, and you can only do that for working months, even years, to be able to get people to even figure out who the hell you even are. And it's not a case of just being able to take one of these videos, just pop it on your Facebook feed and think, oh yeah, that's it, that everything's going to work. That's not going to happen at all. You will be fooled into thinking that that is possible. There might be an odd case where you might potentially gain some sort of traction or make an odd sale, but that'll be just a freak occurrence basically. It doesn't always happen. Anything that you need to do to build your brand or build brand awareness actually takes a lot of time and consistency, and you need to be honest and transparent. Going around and just posting random videos on the likes of social media feeds isn't going to really guarantee you any sort of trust or consistency with your audience, or even if you have an audience. But more often than not, when you're only starting out, you're not going to have an audience, so that's going to take time to build. So you do have other features on the platform as well, where you can link different types of multimedia posts, add in different type of CTAs. You can create other types of carousel or video posts. You can set up different types of campaigns. As you can see, you can set dates and so forth, so you can actually keep an eye on the particular campaigns that you've actually got, which ideally you don't really need to think of, because if you're just posting videos to Facebook, you don't really need to set up campaigns. The only way you do that is if you were actually creating advertisements, like say with YouTube ads or Google ads. You'd have to go into the back end and be able to keep an eye on it. Something like this here doesn't give you all the details, or doesn't give you enough of the actual analytics to be able to show you how well or how bad your campaign is doing. There are actually a lot of other tools here, and in fairness, when you look at what the actual product is supposed to promise, where it's supposed to be really just an app for creating videos, once you go inside here, you can see that there are a load of other tools in here that are actually not really related to the actual product itself. I suppose they're just coming at it from the angle to try and boost the potential of being able to push your posts out to different types of areas and avenues. But a lot of this here doesn't really relate to the fact is what the app's supposed to promise. Even in here, it actually has email marketing, has text messages, SMS marketing. You even got messenger bot setups. You can create automation campaigns with it as well. It even also gives you the ability to be able to create an e-commerce store, which doesn't really relate as such to the initial concept of the actual app itself, which primarily is supposed to be based around videos. So ideally what they're trying to do here is they're trying to pretty much have too many eggs in one basket, and they're trying to be a jack of all trades, having everything in the one place, thinking that there's a potential that you might be able to use it. Because here it shows that you can create likes of an e-commerce store and that you can check out everything. But again, it is very, very simplistic and very, very basic in what it actually is able to do. If you compare it to the likes of e-commerce platforms, the likes of with Shopify, WooCommerce, or even Wix, there's a lot more that goes on in the back end in terms of how you set everything up, and it can be very, very confusing. And especially for a beginner, this is probably something that you really shouldn't look into, because I know myself from my own experience, I tried to use Shopify before, and yes, I got it to work, but it took months to really figure everything out and to get everything up and running. And there's a lot that goes on the back end. You have to be more heavily involved up front to be able to actually get things to work. So this may not be something for you. And again, this here doesn't really relate to what was promised really from the actual initial sales page. It's cool to have all these features, but do you really need them? And again, are these the avenues that you really want to go into? Because again, going into all these other tools and tabs and all these other tools and features, you'll quickly just go into a rabbit hole of being able to think that you can put everything together, and you will quickly get bamboozled. And especially if you are a beginner, which I'd imagine a lot of you that are watching this video will be a beginner, this is where you'll actually get caught out. You'll actually get so stuck on this here that you'll very quickly give up, and then you'll end up not really implementing anything here at all. But not only that, there's no guarantees that if you do implement anything that's in here, there's no guarantees that it's fully going to work or that you're actually going to see any traction on it. Like, in fairness, for what it does offer, there is a lot in here, and it does have potential to be something really good. But again, there's not really enough here, even with the likes of the tutorials and so forth, that really kind of gives you an idea of how you can actually build a business. Because what was promised essentially was just a one-click app that creates promo videos, but then when you go into the back end, you have loads of other tools and features here that doesn't really relate. I can see that it does give you another idea or another avenue to take, but again, like I said, if you go down this rabbit hole, you'll be very quickly confused and you'll end up just giving up and probably not using it at all. And then again, there's still no guarantees that it actually will work fully for you, but it's just something to be aware of. Another thing to point out as well is a lot of the times with apps like this here is that they do always start off with a front end price, and it's usually relatively cheap. Like, you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm going to get all this for like $22. Yes, you'll get most of it, but a lot of it is locked out as well. A lot of these additional features like the e-commerce and all these other ones are more than likely going to be locked out. Again, because I'm just looking here on likes of a review copy of it, but the full copy may not actually have everything here until you upgrade to a lot of these OTOs. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of beginners get caught out, because they spend this additional buck thinking that they're going to be able to unlock all those features, thinking that it's actually going to get them somewhere, and more often than not, it really doesn't actually help them at all. The only thing that it actually does is just waste them a lot of time and wastes them a lot of money. And I do always stress this in my reviews, where I do explain to kind of avoid going into the OTOs or upgrades, because a lot of them aren't really that relevant to the platform itself. Like, initially for the front end price, like in this case it's $22. It's cheap, it's cheerful, it is what it is. You can buy it to test it out and see what you can do with it. If you can make it work and do something in it, good. If not, it's $22. It's not going to break the bank. Where it will break the bank is if you decide to opt into all these additional features when you see the cost on them. So I highly recommend that you should avoid that and look for other alternatives, because there are better alternatives online should you wish to actually pursue them to build a business. And if you are looking for a proven method that actually shows you actually how to build an online business from scratch, below in the description I have access to a free training platform that will actually teach you all the initial steps that you actually need to actually get started. And it's not going to cost you massive amounts of money like this in order to actually start an online business. So be sure to check it out down below. So if you have found this review to be helpful and you'd like to see more helpful guides and reviews like this here, that it teaches you what other ways to make money online and potentially what to be aware of when you're looking at products like these here, whether you should look into them or whether you should avoid them, make sure to leave a like on the video. Also be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon to be updated whenever future videos are released. And also be sure to check out some of the other videos here on screen, where I do provide other helpful guides, tips and reviews on products similar to this, but that also teach you other ways of how you can generate money online and how to actually build a potential business from scratch and the proven methods in which to do so. And as always, I will see you in the next one.